Yo, what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormy B-Man, and I am back welcoming you to another Boxing Raps with Stormy B-Man for this Thursday, October 21st, 2021. And we are calling this one The Pullout Game is Strong in Boxing. Yes, sir. I want to welcome everybody that's out there tuning in. For those who are catching it on replay, don't forget, everyone, to smash that like button when you come in here. And we're going to get down to the conversation on what's going on with this pullout in boxing. There's a lot to be said about this, and different people have their own takes on it and whatnot. But we're here to talk about it a little bit and give everybody our take on it. And maybe some people in the chat will come up with some ideas too as we share this conversation. I'll be joined by some people to talk about this subject and a few other subjects for this evening's show. And I have put some feelers out, but fresh off the start, we've got my man Watcher is out here with me this evening as well. Always a pleasure to have Watcher around with a keen insight and a firm ear to the ground of what's going on in the sport. And we're welcoming him as our first guest on the show for this evening. What's going on with you, Watcher? How you doing, bro? Go ahead, Watch. Oh, I'm sorry. I had to add you to the stream. Sorry about
good,
that.
man.
I guess, yeah, I'm on StreamYard this evening, so forgive me. I'm a little bit slow on it today.
Nah, it's all
But
good, man.
welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. It's good to be back on. It feels like it's been forever since I've been back on here. But yeah, always good to be on. And also salute to the whole chat. Hope you guys are doing well. And yeah, it's good to be on, man. Thanks.
Yes, sir. And as we get into our topic of discussion in just a moment, I'm going to take a quick moment out to acknowledge some of our family that's out there in the chat. We got people that have been waiting from the beginning. I know my man Willie Beecham is a new channel member. I want to say salute to Willie for deciding to become a member of the Stormy B-Man channel. I appreciate that. Every little bit helps in support of us trying to go onward and upward and do some great things as far as bringing quality content to the station. We got Chi-Town's finest out there who's saying blessings and love, family. I can't chat, but I'm listening. Appreciate that as well. MPWTF is out there saying salute, salute, salute. And Jay Gibson is back with us saying salute to Stormy B-Man and the family. Salute to you. Macadus Mac of the South is back saying salute, big bro, King Stormy B-Man, Sensei, the Grandmaster. Thank you, sir. And we have a couple more people out there. Curtis Price has joined us, and Jay Gibson is out there with us as well. Boxing and Barbecue, my man, is out there. He says Stormy, and Thrill Hill is with us as well. So, hey, man, let's get on down into it. And we're going to start talking about it. But this is not going to be the whole show, what is titled, but that gives us a great starting point because this year we have seen so many fights announced, scheduled, postponed, canceled, people pulling out, and events just totally collapsing. So we've seen a little bit of everything when it comes to that. And I thought I'd just kind of, get started on that a little bit. But I want to ask our guest here, Watcher, what are your thoughts when you see that so much in the year of 2020 for the sport of boxing, man? We have seen so much of what I just mentioned. What are your general thoughts? And then we can get into it deeper. But when you look at it in as a whole, how things have happened, what do you think?
I think it's ultra convenience for these fighters, especially the ones that are in the limelight a bit more. Last year and this year has been ridiculous with it. It's if anything, it's getting worse, and the bad thing about it is you're not really getting any insight into like why. You might get like a thing, oh, he pulled out because of this, but nothing's ever, provided. The reasoning is not there. It really does damage to the event itself. You spend all this time training, people buy tickets, preparing for different things. We've seen it too much, and this is not just for, small time events. This is for big events, promoters, they get out of pocket a little bit. It ruins fighters on the undercard, their opportunities to showcase. So there's got to be improvements to how these things are handled, and we got to touch on that for sure. I just feel that when I see it, I look at it, and it bores me because it's like every week now this is happening. I'm sure the rest of the chat feels the same way as well. It's just a bunch of craziness, man, I'll tell you.
Yeah, and we've seen certain fights, like, for an example, and this is not picking on anyone, but it is an example of what we're talking about. And also salute to Brown on Boxing. I see you out there, brother. Jive is out there, and he's listening and peeping as he's with the eyes and the ears up there, tuning in. He's doing it. So a perfect example of this is the Teofimo Lopez George Kambosos promotion and event that it's been a year already since Teofimo, a little over a year since he defeated Vasily Lomachenko, and immediately opted not to offer Lomachenko a rematch and sought to do things in a different way. But along the way, he found himself, claiming to be undisputed and all of this stuff. And, he had a war of words and a show of disrespect toward Devin Haney, who really was the one that was supposed to get the shot against Teofimo. Let's not forget that Teofimo totally sidestepped Devin Haney's opportunity. And Teofimo, who they probably thought, when I say they, I'm talking about the Vasily Lomachenko camp, they thought that he might be easier pickings because stylistically, Devin presented more of a problem because of his youthfulness and his boxing technique and skill. Teofimo is more of a guy who looks to punch, and he's more of an unorthodox, but something that I think that Lomachenko's people felt a little bit more comfortable facing him. And it turned out to be a situation where allegedly he entered the fight injured, still took the fight, still felt he could do something, and tried to come on in the second half of the fight after giving up too many of the first rounds, the first 6 rounds, let's say. But Watcher, the fact that Teofimo has not had this fight with George Kambosos yet, and this has been on the table at least for about 7 or 8 months for the two of them. What are your thoughts on that? Because, there have been so many things that it went to purse bid. He was having a problem with that Bob Arum didn't want to pay and this and that. And then he opted to, go that route with Triller and all of that. What are your thoughts on that?
This is a circus. There really is. You gotta understand, even before Kambosos and Teofimo signed, there was debate about them fighting as well. So already you could see, a red flag. Really, that red flag was there. The warning sign was there. I don't understand what's going on truly behind the scenes, because you hear things floating about, about lawsuits and the IBF, which we know to be true, but the Kambosos has been messed around big time here. I know he has had more than enough. That's an understatement, and it's ridiculous. I mean, from Australia to America to going everywhere else. I mean, shit, this is ridiculous. I mean, the guys are going to be out of pocket by the time they get to the fight for all these training camp and travel expenses. Teo is a guy that has now really hit what he thinks is his limit because he thinks he's made it. But there's more to be done. He's like 23, 24 years old. The job ain't done, you know. And as far as the whole Devin Haney situation, I just cringe at that. You know, I'm not even a Haney fan by any means, but, you know, with those comments that he was making and the way he was then talking to the father and this and that, it's just a weak little man Tiafimo is, and he's making a mess of things. Everyone is having to go through just everything because this little rascal can't make his damn mind up about what he wants. So yeah.
Yeah, and I want to expand on that, but let's also welcome in our other guests for this evening. We got Healer, aka Focus Ball, joining us this evening for this discussion. How you doing, Focus Ball? Welcome to the show this evening, bro.
Hey, how you doing, Stormy? How you doing, Watcher? I apologize. I meant to be here a little earlier, but just got in the house. I'm glad I can join you anyway.
Oh, you're all good, bro. We just getting started. We're just getting started, so we got plenty of time and space for you here. Allow me to also welcome a couple of other faces that have joined in. We got channel member Kenneth Johnson and resident medic. He's joining, saying salute Stormy B Man and Watcher, and also Focus. We got Young World out there, and he's saluting us as well. This evening's show, Focus, we're kicking it off talking about the pullout game and boxing is strong. That's the title of tonight's show. But as we got cooking, we were talking about kicking it off like with the examples of people like Tiafimo and George Kambosos. This one promotion here was supposed to be done months ago, and it's like still haven't happened, man. And I don't think it's gonna happen. And I referred to Tiafimo in an earlier chat. I referred to him as a one-hit wonder because he defeated Vasily Lomachenko, and here it is a year beyond that fight, but he's done nothing to build on that, nor take on anyone of consequence to make a difference. And he's running around as a celebrity, having celebrated that. But dude, you haven't done anything but that. And boxing is definitely a sport of what have you done for me lately, you know? And this is, we're seeing that here. So Focus, why don't you come in and give us some thoughts that you got about that, as I also acknowledge a couple more faces that popped up in the chat. We got Big Homie Coop out there, and we also have we've got a Kondo Sami Hassan out there. He's saying Sensei Storm Tracker is perplexed. And my man Drew Titan is out there as well. I think Drew might be a little busy with family or something this evening. But Drew, if you were interested in joining in on this topic and subject tonight, there is a link in your email for this as well to join us. So feel free if you want. But go ahead, and Razor 531 is out there as well. But go ahead, Focus. Let us know your thoughts on this, particularly with what we've seen with the Tiafimo and George Kambosos situation.
Yes, sir. Well, salute to my brother Drew. Much blessings. It was good chilling with you in Vegas. As for the pullout game and this guy's Tiafimo, listen, these dudes, we need some accountability. If people are pulling out of, I feel that there should be a scoring system in boxing. Like you have wins, losses, draws, and ducks. You should have a column for duck. If you are scheduled for a fight and you pull out and you don't have a doctor's note, that is a duck. You get a duck on your record. Why don't we need proof that Tiafimo? Listen. If I'm George Kambosos, I'm suing Tiafimo. Win, lose, or draw, I'm suing him either way. I'm suing you for lost wages. Because if you can't furnish a COVID test in court, then why did you cancel that date? Because Kambosos could have fought Tio, win, lose, or draw. He would be on to his next fight. So that's lost income based on the fact that you guys had a contract and you pulled out of the contract citing a medical issue. If you don't have a medical issue, it's called fraud. You idiot. If George Kambosos wants, he can bend Tio over a barrel and violate him. Bruh, listen, when I box, I'm going to sue people. That's how I'm going to make my extra money, because there's just so much bull in boxing. Doesn't this guy have a kid on the way? Kambosos has a kid on the way. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. God forbid something happens to him that he can't box anymore. Well, he could have made that $1 million payday back in June and had another payday on top of that. And at least his family would have been straight. He would have gotten that cash. So if I'm Kambosos, bro, I'm going to make you furnish me a COVID test. You want to lie on COVID? People lost their lives. I'm going to make you furnish me. I'm going to make you furnish that. But those are my thoughts.
Yeah, and to add on to what you're saying, Focus, you brought up a great point about suing for, lost wages. Listen, also sue the promoters, okay? Because the promoters are at fault here as well. Now, check this out. Bob Arum didn't want to pay for that fight. So it went to a purse bid, right? Where they ended up, Triller outbid it and overpaid for the situation. Then that whole thing under Triller collapsed. Bob wasn't worried about it because he knows the game. You understand? And Triller is a newcomer. And he knew that Teofimo wasn't a big box office sale or whatever. Bob was strategically marketing Teofimo to a Latin-based audience. Let's just be honest about it, okay? So he knew that there was a small audience for Teofimo, so there was only a certain amount of money that could be put out there for this. But this is the other thing. On the Kambosos side, as you said, lost wages. But how about training expenses? Your camps, your sparring partners, all of this stuff, that costs money. You know what I mean? And your physical expenditures, where you are in there going through the grueling rigors of training for a professional fight. Now, also, the promoters, they don't factor in when they're inexperienced. I was taking that Triller, didn't factor in when you don't have a marquee name that people are really going to pay a pay-per-view price in dollar for. So it has to be a smaller venue. It has to be at a time where it's like nothing else happening. So the spotlight can be on your show pretty much, but there's always something happening in professional sports. So you do have to pick your fields of where you're going to throw the dart against the board. So how about this as well? Bad ticket sales, which was all a part of this process between these two men in their promotion, right? It was like rumored that the tickets weren't selling for the fight. So it's like, that's not our fault.
That's not possible. Right? They got J-Lo.
Exactly. So, but it's like, this is the thing. So even in all of that, and we're only talking about one promotion, bro. This is like, we haven't even gone into other fights and everything that have suffered from the same circumstances. But we're talking about these situations and everything that comes in and aligns itself, and the reason why the bottom falls out. And you got Tio running around calling Devin an email champ and being disrespectful to him when all Devin wanted to do was to fight the best fights that were available to him. Teofimo got the titles away from Vasily and now is sitting on it and running around like he's Big King Dingling, and he's done nothing since then. It's like he won't even give Vasily the rematch where we could see whether or not Vasily will come in motivated and retool to try to get his belts back. So you get the belts, you put everything on ice, you want everybody to respect you, kiss your ass, and you're running around like you really accomplished something, and you haven't defended, you haven't done anything but offend the people and your contemporaries. So what the hell is really going on here? And Bob Arum, at the end of the day, who recently swooped in and made some kind of deal in the 11th hour with Tio. And the thing is like he did this, but he always knew that Tio was going to be in his pocket anyway. He knew this, even when Triller did. Bob is he's a sharp man in this sport. You understand? So it's like you're looking at all of this as boxing supporters. And for us content creators, we're getting a genuine education off of these circumstances. And the fact that you have shows, platforms, and you talk about it, this is what you do. This now becomes what we call receipts. Huh? And when we have these discussions and everything, and then they come back and try to fool us with some stuff later on, we pull out these receipts and say, no, remember this? We've been down this path before. And you hold them accountable and responsible. I'm seeing so much that is consistent across the board with other promotions. We're even seeing it, lo and behold, the Dillian White fight that was proposed with he and Otto Wallen that was supposed to take place next week. And all of a sudden, you have Dillian White who has pulled out of the match. Interestingly, because Mr. White now, they say had a shoulder injury. But according to the receipts, there's that word again, right? My man Drew Titan did a stream the other day, yesterday, I believe it was, if not the day before. My days are kind of running together here, but he talked about it. And he went over the fact that the ticket sales for that fight were really in the tank. I mean, they hadn't sold enough for a high school arena, huh? Seriously. And they had so many seats that were available, I guess they pulled the plug on the promotion. But when I say they, you're talking about Matchroom here, and Dillian White, who happens to be a placeholder for Matchroom Boxing in the heavyweight division, because he has been the man that they kept up there sniffing around the WBC title, right? Now, when AJ had all the other belts, they could really play this game, huh? But with no lack of ticket sales, but also the threat of Otto Wallen. Otto Wallen is a live dog in this, man. And I'm sure, just like they watch our channels, that some of them may be out there watching this stream tonight. They know that the consensus from the public is White was about to get handed his dinner, huh? Because if you look at how he's fought old guys and has-beens and never were's last few fights. This man, in his last couple of fights, has beat the crap out of Dominic Brazil and sent him to oblivion, and went nip and tuck, life and death with Tyson Fury, even more so than Deontay Wilder. So it's like, here you have it. It's like it's a risk, because AJ lost to Alexander Usyk. So the belts are gone right now. So Matchroom is trying to jockey for that position. If they can stall things out, if Fury wants to retire or whatever, that he can still get in there and try to get that WBC strap, right? And they're going to try to get those other belts back from Usyk one way or another, huh? So it's like all of these things that you can see transpiring, man. It is unbelievable. And the best way that they go about doing it is canceling a promotion or pulling out of a fight. We need to see the fights take place. We need to see someone ended in a fight so another person can come on up. See, all of this stuff about avoiding and not going through with the deal and everything and taking a different path, the sport of boxing becomes stagnant. You know, it's just still and lifeless, because no one can advance and no one falters when this stuff happens. When in boxing, someone always falters because you have a winner and a loser. So this is something new that they're doing to monopolize the sport in a certain capacity with certain individuals that they can really control. I know I was a little long-winded there, fellas, and I'm going to let you guys respond to my sentiments there, but let me welcome our OG. Bruce Goals is out here with us, and he's joining us for this evening stream. Welcome, Bruce. How you doing this evening, bro?
Salute, Stormy B, man. Watch us. Salute, man. The healer. Stormy Beamer, my brother, much gratitude for sending me out the invite, man. I love to talk boxing, man. And just got it. Just as soon as I got that, I said, I can't turn down a personal invite from my brother, Stormy B, man. So, man, you know, whatever you cats are chopping up, man, I'd be happy to throw my 2 cents in. And, man, you know, heavyweight boxing, it sounds like it's when I stepped into the room. And, bro, I love heavyweight boxing, man. You know, I'll go anywhere to see a couple of heavyweights fight. You know, it can be in a bar room, it can be in the ring, man. They can be ranked from 1 to 100, man. You know, Bruce Goes is going to be there, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, you know, on this, since you're fresh in with us, Bruce, give us your thoughts on how you've seen, you know, and like I said, in 2021, where all these fights scheduled, made, signed, and then collapsing, whether it's pullouts, whether it's cancellations due to so-called injuries, whether it's due to the C word and all of that. What are your thoughts about this? And can you even remember a time that it was this bad?
No, sir, bro. This is what I'm gonna call this an emotional roller coaster ride. You want to talk about somebody who's getting high as a kite and waiting for these fights to happen, and then a crash. All of a sudden, the fight's canceled. 1 week's notice. Where, you know, I mean, it was the talk of the internet. Everybody had their opinions, whatever they may be. It was great because it was the hottest thing going, and then it's canceled. And man, it's happened. It happened with Pacquiao, with the Pacquiao Spence fight, and now it's happening again. It's happening again with Dillian White and Otto Wallen. And then I was looking forward to this fight big time, man. This is just going to clear out the heavyweight division. You know, one more piece in the puzzle. And bro, like you said, it's for me frustrating as hell, man. You know, I get emotionally invested in these fights. Not the fighter, man, the event. And you know, you know, time is a commodity. We can't, once we spend it, it's gone, bro. And I like to spend mine wisely. And bro, I had planned to invest it in these fights. You know, there was the do not disturb sign on the door. You know, the phone is turned off. Boxing is 101. That's my priority. If you know anything about me, man, I love boxing and heavyweight boxing especially. And now all of a sudden it's canceled. I'm going to keep your show PG rated, Stormy. So it's just, you know, F that, man, you know, bro.
Yes, sir. And hey, man, listen, this is something, you know, we should talk about these things. We should put it out there and let people, you know what's what. And that's the whole thing. The fact that prior to us having this voice, having a platform where we could come out here and openly expose this stuff, especially for those of us who have direct contact with camps, promoters, you know, fighters, trainers, plus, and can get the inside info without even revealing our sources. We can put the information out there to people and let them know what's really going on behind the doors. So that's why we have these discussions and everything, to put people on to like, what is really going on here, you know? So Healer, I had some background from you. I had muted your mic, but why don't you come on in with your thoughts about this? And salute to our brother BFTB out there. I see you out there. And BFTB, if you'd like to join us, bro, I'm more than happy to send you a link, bro. Go ahead, Healer.
Yes, sir. Sorry about that. Just freaking chewing down on dinner.
It's okay.
Yeah, so Dillian was definitely going to get beat up. He wasn't just going to, it's not like Povetkin where he's doing good and he gets knocked out. He was going to get a boxing lesson. He was going to get a boxing lesson. And in a very good fight for Ottawa.
You're breaking up a little bit, Healer.
Because Dillian is highly touted, you know. In joke. Can you guys hear me okay? We're here.
You were breaking up a little bit. You were breaking up a little bit.
Oh, snap. I think I'm frozen. Hey, okay, there we go. I'm back. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, your connection sounds a little goofy though.
All right. Let me.
Why don't you pop out and pop
Yeah.
back in? Pop out and
Okay.
pop back in. Yeah, Watcher, give us your thoughts on this.
I might not keep it PG rated, but hey, you know, it doesn't matter. Dillian White, hey, fucking, this guy, man, this guy, he is like just a fly in the background that just keeps hitting you on the side of the head, man. This dude is something else, man. You know, he's been a pain in the ass for the last 4 years. You know, and it's funny because, like, you know, all he's got to do is get this one fight out the way, and you know, I think he's in some legal grounds to actually get it his way. You know, to get his title shot. I just don't know why I can't get a simple answer that I've asked several people about the shoulder injury. Which shoulder is it? Which one? Is it the right one or is it the left? But I can't seem to get an answer. I can't get any answers from Dillian's team. Nope, can't get any of that. And I know Dillian's had shoulder issues, but the last time he had a shoulder issue was like 6 years ago. I've heard no other injuries. In fact, in his fight with Povetkin, he had a hamstring injury during the fight. That's why he was looking like a freaking, I don't know what Dillian looked like in that fight, but you know, Dillian is just a guy that you cannot fucking rely on at all. Like Brazil, you know, he knocked that back twice. He knocked back the Joshua fight. Ortiz. When Daniel Dubois was calling him out, he didn't pay any attention to that. When Joe Joyce called him out, he knocked back Hrgovic as well, which is something that not really everyone knows, but Hrgovic was there as well. The guy has fought senior citizens his whole career, really. I mean, Ian Lewison, Minto, Brown, Vak, Povetkin, Chisora was aging. I mean, the guy's a joke, man, literally. And like you said, he's been hanging around that top 10, that near the top 5 for all this time, but he's yet to fight someone in the top 5, really. You know, again,
That's
this guy.
an amazing thing right there. Not to cut you off, but that's even more amazing that more people should be complaining about that because he hasn't fought anyone in the top 10 outside of Anthony Joshua. You know, and that was before either of them had become, you know, it was before Joshua won the title. So it's like, come on, man. You know, this guy isn't, and for them to talk about being a number one contender or, you know, a champion, you know, what are they calling it?
The
interim champion and all of that foolishness. Come on, man. You know, it's ridiculous. So for that, it's just crazy. You know, absolutely absurd.
I don't get the dude, man. Like, again, you got all these opportunities in front of you, and you don't want to take it. Oh, the Puller fight, you knocked that back as well. The funny thing is, Otto Wallen's not even in the top 15 in the rankings for the WBC. So they had the idea. He's number 20 right now. So they had the idea that this will be a soft touch, but maybe, you know, Dean White or whatever the guy's name is whispered in his ear something, as he's always doing.
Baby, don't.
You know, Otto Wallen is younger. He fought Brazil, who White refused to fight like twice, you know, pieced him up, you know, and Brazil hits harder and he cuts the ring off a bit better than White. Again, it would have been a good fight, but I'm even hearing Dimitri Salita say now, like it's got to be rescheduled, you know, which means that Eddie Hearn on his side hasn't really done anything about it, you know. So I think the fight might slip away, in my opinion, but it's not a surprise. This is Dillian Shite we're talking about. So at the end of the day, expect him to just, you know, flunk out because that's his, you know, best thing, flunking out like an ironing board on the canvas.
Man, I'm telling you though, I wanted to see this fight because I had this strong feeling that Wallin was gonna pull it out, man. And it wasn't gonna be the kind of fight like it was with Povetkin when Povetkin got him with that shot. I think that Wallin was gonna beat him down. I just had this feeling about it. And it's like, man, you know, sometimes when a guy gets an opportunity, and his opportunity was against Tyson Fury, and we saw what happened there. Fury should have been stopped on cuts. Then he comes back against Dominic Brazil, who had, you know, got blown out by Wilder, but you know, that can happen when you get hit with that right hand. But he, you know, he took AJ what, 7 rounds or something like that. It was a bit of a tussle between the two. And I think that Aldo brings something. This is not saying that he's gonna be the world champion or anything, but he comes to fight, which is what we ask of these guys. Not to see guys fighting their, you know, the senior fighters or guys who are like on their way out to pasture or something like that, but to get your butt in there and fight somebody. We got Healer back now. I think he's okay now. What's going on, Healer? Go ahead and give us your thoughts as you were trying to, bro.
Hey, yeah, you took the words out of my mouth, bro. Dillian was fitting to get beat up. His skill level, his boxing acumen. I don't think he was going to get knocked out or like overwhelmed or anything like that. Just, I think it's a major skill difference, and it would become obvious that Dillian is not that skilled. You get me? So they're definitely trying to preserve their chips, you know, their pawns or whatever. Man, that's why boxing sucks, because it's not the best fight and the chips fall where they may. It's companies who are trying to sell you an idea or trying to maneuver themselves. It's people trying to make money. We're watching people run a business is what we're watching. We're not watching a sport. We're watching a business.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny that you say that. It's one of the reasons that I stopped watching football years ago. I haven't watched football in probably about 4 or 5 years now, maybe a little longer. But it's like the Chicago Bears here, you know, there were times when they were turning the corner, getting good. But the organization, the owners, they are only interested in really making money. They don't care if the Bears team goes to the Super Bowl or not. They just want that stadium to fill up every Sunday. So they keep the team just good enough that you'll come out and see them on a Sunday, right? But they're not going anywhere. And then when they lose woefully, you know, shamefully. You know, it's horrible. And it's like, how can you put a product like that on the field? So when I stopped watching, I said to myself, you know what? I'm not going to be one of these people that be like, you know, the Cubs fans waited 99 years and all of that, man. No, I'm going to find other things to do and, you know, do other things with my Sundays and whatnot. And I stopped and I haven't looked back, haven't missed it. And I can hear conversation, like I'm at work and hear people talking about the games and stuff. And they're like, oh man, the Bears were horrible last night. And I laugh. I was like, you still dialing in and checking yourself into that mess? But see, we don't want that from the sport of boxing because there are always fights that can be made. But if you give these guys an out, if you give them an out, they will take it because we're living in a different era. This is not an era of pride being the best or trying to do your best. This is let me steal and get that bag. Huh? This is the time that we're living in now. So you have to be honest with yourself about what's really going on. But Bruce, what do you got on that?
Bro, I mean, you know, the sorry state of boxing, you know, it's, you know, we're controlled by 4 organizations controlling a worldwide sport. I mean, can you imagine if that would happen in these other sports you're talking about, Major League Baseball, freaking NFL? I mean, bro, there's just no organization, and these titles are all splintered. They all have different requirements of defense. Bro, I don't think we're going to see an undisputed title in our lifetime, because who the hell really wants to be an undisputed champion? And, you know, as far as this fight coming up, I am disappointed, like you're not going to believe, Stormybman. I told you, man, I got the love affair with heavyweight boxing, and this one sparked my eye. I mean, you know, freaking Otto Wallin, he sliced up that goofy freaking Tyson Fury. I mean, I thought that fight should have been stopped. He's got razors in those fists. The last fight he looked great against Brazil. What has Dillian White done? He got laid out by Povetkin, and then he came back. Povetkin did not look the same. He looked like he was still under the effects of whatever he got suspended from. Another fight that was another layoff we had to endure. But yeah, it's like a world of layoffs. And this fight, I don't know if it's going to be fought again. It really should be. I want to see what Alo Weiland does. I think he can become a successful gatekeeper. He's not going to be a titleist, but who knows in the splinter division? Maybe he'll scoop up one of these belts. He's not going to be a heavyweight great, but he can be an effective gatekeeper. He can be a top 10 competitor, bro. I mean, the heavyweight division's made for guys like Otto Weiland. It's been throughout my stage of watching. I've seen many fighters like him who never wore a belt, and you're still talking about him 50 years later. So it's a big disappointment. But don't let this stop. Don't let this stop heavyweight boxing. This is just a little bump in the road, man. Let's keep it going. Let's reschedule this fight. Let's get another fight on this date, man. Let's keep it happening, because I'm looking at the glass as half full. I'm sick of looking at it at half empty, because it's real easy to do that, man. I'm trying to stay positive. I love boxing. I'm not a fan of any fighter. I don't care who wins. I just want to see a good competitive fight. Everybody's got their favorites, man. My favorite is that grand slam, that knockout punch that comes from nowhere, man. I love that. And heavyweight boxing, boom, it's like anything can happen anytime. And yeah, it definitely pisses me off that the shit they're doing with us, they're playing with us. We're fans, and we're following these third world country organizations, bro. It's ridiculous. Boxing's got to get under one roof. I mean, you can eliminate these. It's got to be done at a federal level. And I don't know if it can be, because I don't think many people really give a shit about the fate of boxing. But, it is what it is. I've been a lifelong fan. I'm going to continue to be, bro. Dig coming on here talking about it, man. Watch Stormy B, man. My brother, the watch you up there, and Focus Ball, man. Just good shit up here, man.
Yes, sir. And I want to say salute to Jive out there with his second super chat. I put his first one on the screen, but he just came back with another one. He says, the panel speaks facts. He says, pure facts, keep cooking. And we will. This is what it's all about, man. You have to put it out there, because sometimes when people are watching the sport, remember, you go back 20 years ago, we didn't have social media like we have it now to this extent, to be able to come on with shows and everything where we don't have to tune into ESPN. We don't have to wait till a Saturday night to listen to people on HBO or Showtime give their take on something. We're right here, day in and day out, 24/7. And we're on top of the sport, and with a lot of us with direct connections to the people actively involved in the sport. So for those out there want to say things like, these guys have narratives and stuff like that. Listen, man, a lot of us have connections. We have direct affiliations, associations, friendships, and, collaborations with people that can tell us what the real deal is, even if they won't go on the mic publicly and say it. This is how we're able to be and bring you, what you need to hear. And that's why we are here doing this. When we talked about, Dillian White, and as Bruce just, finished cooking on that, don't forget, Brazil offered to fight White for his number one contender position a couple of years back before he fought Deontay Wilder. He was like, let's fight for it. Dillian White didn't even want it. And then here comes Otto Weiland. He comes in there, he cleans Brazil's clock. So he's more deserving than Dillian White is, because at least Brazil has fought Wilder and Joshua. You understand? And Otto Weiland has fought Tyson Fury. So Dillian White fought AJ, but that was before AJ won the title. So they were still pretty green coming up at that time. Two undefeated young men fighting each other. So, I mean, come on, man. It's ridiculous when you see these things transpiring as they do, and people getting out. But as I said, if White wasn't selling tickets, that's not our fault. Put his butt in a smaller venue where it's going to be capacity. It could be out there on Eddie Hearn's plantation where he's had so many of those outdoor fights and stuff like that when he was doing the summer thing. But hey, don't be trying to put him in a big old stadium where don't nobody care about him really like that. They just want to watch boxing. Put it somewhere where people will come out to watch boxing. And that's what it was, I believe, more than anything. The duality of Joshua losing his fight and the consensus behind the scenes that more and more whispers were like, this is not going to be an easy fight for Dillian Whyte. So imagine it like this. If Matchroom has AJ losing those titles, because that's what it's really about. It's about having a real stake in the heavyweight division with those belts, controlling the belts. That's what Hearn and Matchroom have been really trying to do with AJ. But AJ, as I said so many times before, was one of the most vulnerable champions of all time. So he's lost the belts again. So your placeholder is Dillian Whyte. So it's like you can't put him in a threatening fight and be out to sea with both he and AJ, because now you're checked out in the division and you're at the mercy of someone else, looking to give you an opportunity where they don't have to give you an opportunity. So you can see the game that's being played here, but that don't mean that we have to accept it. That don't mean that we have to support it or pretend like we don't see it, because that's what it's all about. Power play. And, they're running on fumes, Matchroom right now, because there's no guarantee, even in a rematch, that AJ defeats Alexander Usyk. And that would be a great segue into the next conversation, fellas. Does anyone on the panel here have anything else to say about the pulling out and everything with Whyte or with the Teofimo or whatever? Anybody got any last comment on that before we move on? I take that as a no.
I'm good, bro.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Well, we'll move right on into the next subject, which is AJ. Now, news had it this week that he's been shopping around in the U.S., going to various camps with various trainers, making himself known, and that he might be looking to work with some American trainers. So, first of all, we heard of him being over there in Canelo's camp with Reynoso and all of that. And here's a picture of him over there sharing a laugh with Canelo and everything. And we know that Canelo's getting ready for his big fight with Caleb Plant. But AJ is coming over here now. And, remember, he said he didn't need America. Remember that? He said that. So why are you sniffing around the American gyms now, AJ? And you got on a Crenshaw t-shirt, huh? Crenshaw. I'll just let that marinate for a minute right there. Okay? Get out of here.
Seriously.
And then, he also visited with Ronnie Shields. Okay? And those two golden girls that are with Shields there, and he in this photo where, I ain't even saying the names. You understand? But Mr. Shields, I got a lot of respect for because I've had conversation with him. He's a brilliant boxing mind, has a tremendous record of being a boxing coach out there, working with some of the best in the sport ever, including the likes of Sweet Pea Whitaker, Evander Holyfield, and Mike Tyson. The name list can go even further, but I'm just saying, Mr. Shields is someone that is respected in the sport. And the mere fact that this man shows up in Mr. Shields' gym, does a public workout, and I call it public because they let it be filmed and everything. But come on, man. If you really wanted some good teaching or whatever, you go right to who you're going to. You go to Mr. Shields, huh? You don't go to this camp, that camp, whatever. Hey, y'all, look at me. I'm AJ. I just want to look around and see how y'all do stuff, man. And maybe I might hire one of you guys to be. Get out of here. You don't run nothing over here, fool. Go back over there where you were, huh? I thought you were loyal to the soil. So get your butt back over there where your soil is. because you ain't from Crenshaw, huh? Get the hell out of here with that foolishness. And then how about this one here? This is one that really should get your draws in a bundle right here, huh? He's in there with Mikey Garcia. What's up with that? Mikey said he don't want to work with heavyweights, huh? He don't think he can handle them, the big guys and stuff like that. But it ain't that, because, most of the heavyweights over here are black, huh? And you can't get away with training people, calling them miates and all of that stuff, Mr. Garcia. But you got AJ over there in your gym, huh? Get out of here with that foolishness. We don't need that. How are you going to go shipping around your services? AJ, you for the streets, man. You're for the streets. Salute to our brother BFTB Boxing out there in that super chat, man. He says, salute to my unc, man. Salute to you, BFTB, man. I appreciate you, man, and your donation to the show, man. I really do. And as I had said, a link was sent to you. So if you wanted to come on here and grill this piece of pork, you're more than welcome to come on as well, man. So your link is out there already, brother. Watcher, come on, man. I know you got something to say about this.
Oh man, just I remember like Robert Garcia saying some stuff about AJ. I think Ronnie, like here's the thing. I think AJ has lost what used to be there, the dog that he had. But I think the Joseph Parker fight, who knows, maybe even before that, and I know the Ruiz fight definitely played a part, but I think the dog isn't there, and that's something that you can't really be taught. That's something from within. So that's just one of many different things that he's gonna have to get back. Out of all three guys you showed, I think Ronnie is the best. I think he's got the most experience, and he knows how to teach the art of boxing. I don't know who those two guys, the twins or whatever with the glasses. They look real familiar, but I don't know those guys, why they were there and trying to holler and everything and big up AJ.
Two thoughts.
AJ is not gonna pick this guy. He's gonna go back to McCracken. Nothing's been confirmed, but I know he's gonna go back to McCracken. He's got too many of these other guys like Angel Fernandez and these other guys who haven't done shit in the sport. They're trying to teach these little things with, the lead hand and everything. It's not going to work. This isn't like this rematch that he's going to have to prepare for. This isn't 300-pound Ruiz who hasn't trained, who's being, at the freaking taco stand or whatever. This is Usyk. I've been watching Usyk since like 2012. He is freaking dedicated to this sport. He is not worried about other competitors and their training. He is solely focused on winning. He's a winner. He's the epitome of a freaking winner. And AJ's going up.
Tell us how good he is. See, that's the other thing. People think like, well, he beat AJ, so that wasn't luck. The man is good. Tell him, watch it.
Usyk is the goods, and he easily beats a lot of guys in the top 15. And he's experienced. He's got tremendous amateur accomplishments, tremendous professional accomplishments. You got to understand he's one belt away from being undisputed heavyweight champion. Yeah. And I think he is going to win this rematch. I'm not saying AJ can't win it, but Usyk is the goods. Physical conditioning, boxing acumen. And you saw in the fight, AJ tried to take the middle of the ring, and he thought the little man would back up, but Usyk held his ground. And he was using different little things in there to get the space and get position and whatnot. So again, it's not a thing of AJ having a bad night. Fucking AJ looked like a defeated man after that fight. And, again, Reynoso, Canelo, these guys aren't going to help the mental side because it's not just physical, it's also mental that he has to go with. I think Ronnie is his best bet for sure. And who knows, maybe a win can come from that. But you're going up against a guy that is the goods. Usyk knows what he's doing in there. He knows that ring like the back of his hand, just about. You know, so and that's another thing people got to start doing more, giving Usyk that credit, because he went in there and everyone was freaking doubting him, saying he's got no power, this and that. He had enough power to hurt AJ. He had enough, and certain adjustments that Usyk was preparing to make, he didn't even need to make during the fight, because it was, you know, yeah, he was getting touched at times, but he won the rounds. He won like 9 rounds in that fight. You know, so AJ's got to, you know, get it right up there in the mental side, because, you know, if for him defeat is too easy for him, it's like, oh, I lost, you know, I can come back. Make sure though you can come back, because once you start falling into that rabbit hole, it's very hard to get out of. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, Bruce, what do you have, bro?
Oh, bro, we can. This whole subject, the AJ subject, man, that's a show in itself. But you know what I got out of that is I didn't see the dog in AJ. I haven't seen that, and you know, since that first Ruiz fight. You know, the second one was was planned. You know, he survived the fight. He won the title back. But you know, that was Andy Ruiz after winning the taco buffet special contest there. And you know, I just didn't see anything in AJ in this last fight. Usyk, great fighter, but even when Joshua hurt him, he seemed to like step back. He just didn't have that dog in his eye, that eagle. You know, once you get the prey killed, you know, once you wrap your talons around it, he just didn't have that in his eye that he used to have in early fights. And you know, I just kind of thought after that fight that AJ was going to seriously retire. I've heard him say in interviews after fights that, you know, he wasn't in it for the belts. He wasn't in it for the glory. He was in it to make a lot of money, get out with his brain intact, with his health. And, you know, I thought this might have been the perfect time, because he just looked like he just wanted to sit back and smell the flowers. I didn't see I didn't see the heart of somebody who has to be at that caliber of a heavyweight. I just didn't see it in an AJ anymore. But you know, he surprised me, and now it's like, man, it's like a reality show. Have you ever seen a boxer come anywhere and go from trainer to trainer to trainer? It's like, what the hell is this? This is brand new to me. This is alien stuff. I mean, this, you know, like I said, this is like a reality show. You know, who's he going to pick? Who's going to be the you know, the future bride, or whatever they're calling it these days? Who's going to get that rose? It's
Bachelor.
You know, well, bro, is that not what we're watching, bro? I mean, I never watched it, but I'm just kind of saying this is what it seems to be to me, bro. From what I hear about it, it's all alien shit to me. You know, what do we care who his trainer's going to be? You know, everybody's saying Ronnie Shields. That's what I've heard. You know, most reliable sources, and that seems like you know, the route to go. But no, we have to look and go see Eddie Reynoso. Then we have to see him go down, you know, gone to the Garcia camp. You know, spend a couple of days there. Put on a show for his followers, man. You know, get more views, bro. It's an alien world. You know, I can see fighters going in the ring now. Here he comes from London, 62 victories, 3 defeats, but 1 million followers. Anthony Joshua. I mean, it's really, bro. It's turning into that way today. I'm here for the ride, and I'm trying to catch up to it, because, you know, I'm the kind of a guy who used to have to tell me how to press a button in an elevator back in the day, man. So, bro, I'm a greenhorn in this new world, man. And
I love that, Bruce Gold, because I can relate. You know, you got some years on me, but I feel you, man. I totally feel you. So you listen, speak the truth, man. That's all I can say.
Bro, you know I'm trying, brother. You know I'm trying, man.
So thank you for those sentiments. So Healer, what you got on this, man, with AJ being for the streets or for the camps, as we should say?
So first and foremost, as a career coach, a mind-body coach, my approach to boxing is page 1, page A to Z. The Bible of boxing has page A, so to speak, and ends at Z. As a boxer, your goal should be to learn A, B, C, D, E, F, G. From watching all of these fighters, I don't see people use the. Jeez, hold on. I don't see people use the cross arm guard anymore. So much old school stuff I don't see people use. I don't see trainers teaching it, but then again, I'm not always there. So what I'm getting at is the ultimate goal of a boxer should be to learn the entirety of boxing, all the things that you can do in boxing. It's not always good to jump around from trainer to trainer because sometimes some people don't know what they're talking about. I feel that the American style is the greatest style in boxing. If we look at the history of heavyweight boxing, right? If we look at the history of heavyweight boxing, where has the heavyweight champions come from? They've mostly come from America. So that knowledge is here in America. Robert Garcia is not American. Canelo's gym is not American. They're in America, but guess what? They get beat up by American fighters all the time. And Canelo who taught Mayweather how to beat the style that beat Canelo?
The reason I'm laughing, and I kept my mic open for laughing, because I'm glad you said it, Healer, because, you know, when somebody else like myself say it, or even if Bruce goes or a watcher says it, you know, people like, oh, you guys, you got to, you know, axe to grind and this and that. But see, you came on and you said it so pure and it flowed off your lips so smoothly, man.
Yeah, I'm not trying to
play that back in the soundbite.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to like take a dump on him, but
no, you're not. And I understand what you're saying.
Let's watch Robert Garcia fight. I've seen him fight. His first off, let me compliment.
Didn't his brother just take a L?
Exactly. now, with all due respect to the integrity and prestige of Mexican boxing is known for its offense. Although when I first got into boxing, I did learn the line drill and how to move my head from a Mexican gym. But for the most part, name a Mexican fighter with phenomenal head movement. Phenomenal head movement, the likes of Sweet Pea, the likes of an American fighter. Fuck it, the likes, oh, excuse my language, I'm so sorry. The likes of, what's the Italian cat's name from back in the day?
Nicolino Loci.
Yes. Name a Mexican fighter in history that has been able to do that. That is on that level.
Yeah. Great stuff, man. And see, that's why when we have a panel, okay, and you can have multiple people on here and give their views and thoughts or whatever, man, it's like sometimes the truth is a bitter pill to swallow, huh? It really is. But listen, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Healer just pointed out something. You have ethnic gyms in America, but they are not of the American philosophy or the American consensus. So it's like, and some of them have fallen on their hardships as well as a result of being inflexible.
They call them runners, don't they?
Yeah, it's inflexible. When a guy is talking about, oh, I don't want to fight him because all he does is run. But isn't boxing technique instilled with the nuances of learning how to cut the ring off? Huh?
Isn't boxing the sport where you hit and don't get hit?
Yeah.
That means you didn't read the book. You did not read the Bible. The Bible of boxing is hit and don't get hit. Customato taught that. An American. I learned that from Cuss. He said to Mike, you want to hit your opponent and put yourself in a position, meaning after you hit him, put your feet in a place where as soon as he goes to hit you back, because your feet are there, your body's not anymore. But they call that running. So you go with the American trainer because America's produced the most champions. But here's the thing. If we look at Usyk on a technical basis, first off, I want to give praises to Usyk because if you follow my channel way back when, I did a video when everybody was going nuts about their pound for pound list. I'm like, how come nobody has Usyk? Usyk defines pound for pound because pound for pound was originally Sugar Ray Robinson going up to fight the heavyweight champion. So if we weigh the same amount, I'm gonna beat the heavyweight champion. Did Usyk not start at a lower weight than heavyweight and then move up to heavyweight and beat the heavyweight champion? That's the stuff right there. But if you watch boxing, Usyk has footwork. Usyk is sweet with it. Usyk has great reflex. He's an Olympian. Joshua's robotic, and for a taller guy, he didn't necessarily fight like the taller man. See, a shorter fighter is always underestimated because it's like, oh, you can't reach me. But dude, I just have to hit you in your face. Your jaw is no stronger than I can hit. I guarantee you, even women could knock men out if they land the proper punch in the right place. Usyk is a technician, and he's got the footwork to get inside. Joshua doesn't have the how do I say the I mean, he did it versus Ruiz, fight on the back foot, but that wasn't it wasn't like Floyd Mayweather or Sweet Pea, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think that for AJ, if he wants to continue as a boxer, he should be getting another coach because McCracken can only teach him so much. But justice for McCracken, right? And what he needs to learn is to be a little more loose. AJ can stand to use some better footwork, some better head movement, just more of that sweet stuff that you get here in the USA. I don't know that Ronnie Shields is the guy for that. He's
and I don't know if sweet stuff is what AJ needs at this point. Huh? He needs some bitter pills, huh? Because I think it's been a little too sweet for him. Huh? The oil and everything. It's time to get down there, lose the baby oil, and let it be sweat, huh? From hard work, labor, huh? That's the problem here, huh? They built this kid up, man, to look model pretty, huh? Prototype. If you were starring in a movie called The Boxer, the guy you cast will probably look like AJ, okay? Because he done lift the weights and he got the muscles and everything, but you ask him to take a punch for real and he looking for a stunt man, okay? No, this is real life, okay? And in real life, you get hit with real punches, huh? And that's why Usyk had him almost ready to go, huh? Because he couldn't take it. And getting another trainer ain't gonna help your chin, okay? It's not. So it's like, and remember, I gotta drill this point home. He said he don't need America. Remember that.
He did say that.
He said, so what the hell you doing over here? Huh?
He's made some new friends, I guess.
There's another fighter out there that's on the come up in the light heavyweight division who happens to have the name Joshua too. Joshua Buatsi. Okay? And the young man is like 15-0, something like that, 12, 13 knockouts. Very good up and coming young fighter. May be a champion one day soon. Okay? But this young man from Ghana, actually, he's out of the UK, but he's from Ghana. But Ghana has a history of tough fighters in the professional ranks of boxing. Azuma Nelson, Ike Quartey, you know what I mean? These Ghanaians, they are good. But this young man realized something early in his career. He said to himself, in order to be the best at the top of the division, I think I need to go and get myself someone who can show me the international way of fighting, the Western world way, to help me. And I'll do it before I take a loss, before I slip on a banana peel. That way I can stand on a more solid foundation with what boxing has to offer me and what I have to offer the sport of boxing. So he comes over here and he hires Virgil Hunter, huh? Now, Virgil Hunter has worked with some guys out of the UK in the past. You know, Amir Khan comes to mind. But remember, Amir Khan, by the time that Virgil Hunter heard from him at his doorbell, Amir Khan has suffered some circumstances that he just can't overcome. He is what he is as a fighter. He's now over in Bomax camp, Amir Khan, believe it or not. But not to digress about Joshua Buatsi here. By hiring Virgil Hunter, the connection to Andre Ward and the success that Ward had. Ward beat a hell of a lot of guys from the UK in that Super 6 tournament that he was in, right? So they're familiar with him over there. But who taught that guy? Who helped that guy from the time he was a kid? So Virgil is actively involved in Buatsi's career right now. They've had a couple of fights together so far, and he hasn't lost yet, and he's growing, and he's starting to know what's happening with the sport of boxing from a broader appeal. When I found these things out about this young man and watching him perform, he immediately went on my list of guys to watch and to automatically take favor with because of insight. Having the wherewithal to break free from the reins or from what is the norm, to break that cycle. Smart man. And I wish him all the best for opening himself up to something like that. Watcher, what else you got on this, man? You there, Watcher? Or you away from the mic?
Sorry, I didn't hear you properly. Yeah, I was going to say earlier, actually, because people were trying to make the comparison between Chisora and Joshua. You know, like Usyk struggled with Chisora. To be honest, you know, even in all of Chisora's losses, they have not come easy. Maybe one or two of them. But Chisora has a different style to Joshua. And he's got a lot of experience because he's fought everyone under the sun. Heck, he was going to fight Wilder at some point in 2014, but something happened there with the fight. But Chisora is one of those fighters that knows how to cut the ring off. He knows his style, and he's a bit stuck in between gears and everything, but Joshua is not that guy. And he opted to do things his own way, and it's now happened that he's taken another L. And as for Joshua Buatsi, I've known him for quite a while. He won silver at the Olympics. Very good amateur. And his move to Virgil Hunter is a smart one because him and Hunter, they work well together. I've seen them together working. That's a good arrangement there. You know, a lot of these other guys, they're still hell-bent on being loyal to these trainers who, you know, just haven't added any tools to the arsenal. But I agree with everything you said, man. You hit the nail on the head. I mean, you know, again, at the end of the day, the changes beforehand, I think, are better than after, you know? It's almost like you're preventing the worst, if you know what I mean.
Right. Absolutely. Healer, you have anything on that?
No, I mean, I think that's an intelligent way to look at it. Like you have to be a student of the game. Virgil Hill got Andre Ward there, but as you said, it was since he was a kid, right? He brought him up. So yeah, I definitely wish I had something like that. That's all too important, but the key thing to take away there is because he had him as a kid, he can take him through the entire book. And as I said earlier, every boxer, even every time you're doing a camp, I'm not necessarily that concerned about the other person. Yeah, I got a game plan for him, but I should be learning how to become a better boxer. And then you can express yourself. So that was very intelligent on Buatsi's part. That's all I got on that.
Yes, sir.
I want to add one more thing in. Stormy will remember when I said this, I brought this up. Before the Joshua Usyk fight, Alexander Krasuk, Usyk's promoter, was like, "We are so glad to be here, and we're looking forward to the rematch."
That's great.
He knew, man. He knew.
I love it, man. I love it, man. Listen, and let me say this. They showed nothing but class the whole way through. Am I correct? Even in victory, they returned his belts to him in the dressing room and everything. How about that, man? The man was utter class. You know what? When you're good like that, you can be that way. You don't have to be bold, brash, and ignorant and insulting and rude and obnoxious. You don't have to be. What were you saying, Healer?
Oh no, I just said exactly. I was agreeing with you.
Yeah. So, but that's something to consider when you're talking about these things. Now, let's kind of switch this, fellas, into a different direction, but still of the same subject. What do you guys think about trainers who may want to take on guys from different countries and stuff like that? But, like Emmanuel Stewart was doing this before he passed away. He had the Klitschko's, and he had a couple of other fighters that he was working with that weren't heavyweights, but he was, advising and kind of teaching. What are your guys' sentiments on that? And not saying that, do you think it should be biased or something? I'm not trying to even imply that, but to see more fighters to try to open themselves up to the possibilities. Bruce, I'll throw it right back at you.
And what was that specific question again, Stormy B Man?
What do you think about the trainers taking on, more international fighters, Western trainers? Because again, as it was alluded to earlier in our conversation, to be the cream of the crop is usually through the West. It goes through the canal of the Western world. So what do you think about trainers opening themselves up more?
Yeah, I can see that, but I see the most successful trainers and boxers. They have a mind meld almost, man. They almost get inside of each other. I mean, you look at the successes. I look at one of the most successful trainers of my lifetime, the Petronelli brothers, the way they handled Marvin Hagler. I mean, they didn't.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Marvin Hagler, bro. That guy was doing road work at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then getting on his bicycle and going to do a job, construction, 8 hours a day, coming back on his bicycle, then going into training. And bro, the Petronellis they let him do it. They didn't take any money out of his purse till he started making, 6 figures, bro. And Hagler, he never roamed around. He never looked at other trainers, and it was a successful combination. And they had him right from the beginning of his career. And that's how I can see a bond between a trainer and a boxer. I see a lot of boxers. They shop around. It seems. There's the trainer of the day, so to speak.
The Goosens. The Goosens, just to piggyback on what you're saying, Bruce Goes, the Goosens were trying to do that with Michael Nunn. They were trying.
Yeah.
Michael Nunn just turned out to be more of a handful when he started having some success. But they really rolled their dice with Nunn. They built everything that they were doing around him, their gym and everything. Michael Nunn was going to be their guy and everything, a lot like the Petronellis with Hagler and everything. And I think that when he left them, that's when his troubles began. Even though he sought out Angelo Dundee, but hindsight being 2020 about Angelo was a tremendous cheerleader and hype man. He could get you feeling great about what you're doing and this and that. But there are some people who are more technically proficient for fighters and everything. And the Goosens, Dan Goosen was managing and Joe Goosen was training. And Joe Goosen is a brilliant boxing mind. He really is. Look at what he was able to pull out of Diego Corrales, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's like having great trainers means so much for a fighter. And when he's winning, that's easy to say, yeah. But when he either suffers a defeat or has to pull through a circumstance where he snatches victory from the jaws of defeat, that's when you see the essence of what a real good trainer or a great trainer is all about. Go ahead, Bruce Goes. I'm sorry. I just wanted to interject that about the Goosens.
No, bro, everything you're saying is 100%. We just saw it last week, man. Malik Scott, bro. I mean, anybody can have a different opinion about him, but bro, he had the right advice for Deontay Wilder in the corner. He snapped him out of it after that third round, man. He had and after the fight, he took the bullet. He came out there, man. He admitted, that his fighter was beaten that night, bro. He took it on the chest, and that's a bond you don't see between a fighter and a trainer. And maybe it can be cultivated through time. Sometimes you get lucky and it just gets cultivated on the spot. But that's what it takes. And maybe the Goosens and Michael Nunn, they didn't click, whereas Hagler and the Petronellis, they clicked. Ali and Angelo Dundee, they clicked. It's a weird thing, but maybe personalities, egos, whatever it may be, Stormy B, man. But once this happens, then you see great things with a fighter. Then he trusted the advice the trainer gives him. He puts his life on the line for the trainer. If the trainer says you're not winning this fight, you have to go out there and do better. I'm gonna stop this fight. A warrior will take the advice of his trainer to heart, and he'll follow advice, because that's what he's paying the man to do. That's what it's all about, beyond money. That's the pure beauty between a boxer and a trainer, and you don't see that often. And I think AJ, he's bopping around trying to find one, man. Well, he's in Texas, man. Maybe he should check into the Mayo and get a heart transplant, because it's that's what he really needs. It's not the trainer. I don't think he's going to find the personality, man. He's got McCracken over there, and he obviously needs somebody better. But making the Bachelor out of it, that's not the answer, bro. That's the way I feel about a trainer, man. There's a special bond, and that's when you start seeing them rise to the top.
Yeah, and I heard some kind of quote this week as well that AJ has said something along the lines, of he needed a trainer that's going to bring that dog out of him. Dude, you've had fights to bring the dog out of you, and if the dog didn't come out, there ain't no dog in the house, huh? I'm sorry. Hey, you got to tell it like you know what I mean? The trainer ain't gonna do nothing but you a puppy to him, huh? A new coach, and then once he finds out that you a mutt, huh? Then it's off to the animal shelter you go. I can keep it up with these metaphors and analogies, but it's like, hey man, you tell
Stormy B, man, what did you think of that crazy time when Teddy Atlas was sitting in the corner when Michael Mora came back after the bell rang? Do you think that was theatrics, or do you think that got Mora going when he beat Holyfield?
It was theatrics. And matter of fact, it was from that fight that Teddy Atlas became enamored and became a darling of the HBO guys. And that's how he ended up getting on television on ESPN and stuff like that, because they hyped Teddy Atlas up more for what his antics and theatrics were in Mora's corner against Holyfield than anything that Mora did, or even it was like they made Atlas the star the night that Michael Mora upset Evander Holyfield, instead of talking about the fact that Mora was he was less than stellar that night, but there was something more wrong with Evander Holyfield, and that Teddy Atlas had to get on him and every round come up with these soliloquies and everything to try to motivate Michael Mora. If you can't be motivated for the heavyweight championship of the world, I'm sorry, man, maybe you're in the wrong business. And Michael Mora, I think that once he got away from Emmanuel Stewart, a lot like Gerald McClellan, he kind of lost his way in the sport. He lost that fire that you need in your belly. But yeah, Teddy Atlas made his. That's just like when Teddy Atlas was in there with Gavaskit against Artur Bidibev. He's over there telling Gavaskit, we're firemen, and all of this stuff, and we live in the heat and all of that. Listen, man, Gavaskit was ready to quit because Artur Bidibev was putting it on him, and he was hitting him very hard and hurting him with punishing shots, and he was ready to go. And Teddy couldn't recognize his fighter. And remember, he had been working with Gavaskit for a little while. So he couldn't even recognize that something was wrong with his fighter. Later, after the fight was over, Gavaskit goes to the hospital. He had a brain bleed. But Teddy Atlas kept putting his mouthpiece in his mouth and shoving him out there, trying to be macho. Now, remember, this is the same man who talks about knowing how to tell your fighters and looking at them and assessing things and this and that. Listen, man, Gavaskit was not a chump. He was a champ. When he beat Adonis Stevenson, Adonis ended up with a brain injury, but he was a tough man. He wasn't a quitter or anything like that. So for a man like that to come back to the corner and tell his coach he don't really want to go back out there anymore, you need to pay attention. Stop trying to be bravado for the cameras and stuff like that, which I think Teddy got a little enamored with that kind of stuff. He might beg to differ, but you look at the performance, and I'm not talking about his fighter. I'm talking about him. You understand? It's one thing to be able to find that key to press for your fighter and everything. It's another thing to make awareness of that your fighter has come to a point that that's all he has. And Bitterbeef was hurting that guy. He was breaking him down. And this is the thing about Bitterbeef. He punches like one, and Bruce Goes should understand what I mean when I say this. He punches like one of those guys from the old days. Everything he hits you with, it hurts, or it'll break a rib, or it'll fracture something, because he's so heavy-fisted. The man can hold 100 pounds in one hand. You understand? He's something else, bro. Listen, I talked to his trainer, and we talked about this. We went through. Artur Bidibev is like a different kind of person. And for Teddy Atlas to not be able to define that and see that, and then keep putting this guy out there, what he was doing with Michael Moore against Holyfield, yeah, he had to fire him up and everything just to get him to perform. But that didn't start on that night. That started before they made it to the ring on that night. That started in camp. It started a while back. Whatever Moore's problems was with him. And you see that relationship didn't last. So it's like, you have to understand, if you're my coach and trainer, I got to put my trust in you, and you've got to put your faith in me as the fighter. You understand? So it's like, this is what that's all about, bro. But that's my answer for you, Bruce.
Yeah, no. Man, like the old show, Have Gun Will Travel. He's like, have Jim Bag will travel. Seems like, he just goes to the highest bidder. He likes to create that brand, as we say today, man. The Teddy Atlas brand. He likes to drop names, and like you said, man, your heart has to be with that fighter. As one heart, you've got to get that mind going. You're putting your life in his hands, and Teddy, I think he's beyond that now, man. He maybe back in the Catskill days, but Teddy's a celebrity. He's a child of the internet, and that's I think that's where he belongs. I don't think he belongs in the corners anymore.
No, yeah, and I think it's good that he's doing what he's doing now. It's like he's got podcasts and things of that nature, and that's okay. And he has the experience that he could share. Like, he could come on and share things and be insightful and all of that. But the time has passed him, and again, it's like Mike Dicker when he was coaching the Bears. I'm sorry I keep bringing up the Bears, but it's just it's a great way to make this comparison. When George Halas brought him in to coach the team, he had a lot of spunk. He had a lot of desire to be a good coach and everything, and he was. And when they had success, it went to his head, and then he wanted to be the show. The team is the show, bro. All those 48 players out there, 49 players, that's the show, not you, the coach. You'll get credit when they win, but it's like you can't be the man on all the TV commercials and this and that. And that's what he became. And he even became a caricature of himself for the rest of his life. You know, he became a character. But there was one time when he, for a short period of time, like a 3-year span, he was a darn good coach. Had a fire in the oven and everything. But it just goes to show how that can, you know, a person can be sidetracked. And they get stardust in their eyes. And I think that happened to Teddy. I really believe that. Anybody on the panel got something to say on this? Because it's like, I know, I forget who was last week.
Yeah.
Or Bruce.
Yeah, I mean, a lot was said. We could talk about the coaching aspect all day, every day. But I've seen people, I've seen MMA matches where they have coaches trying to tell their fighter. There was one fight where a fighter was like, "I'm done." He told his coach, "I'm done," and the coach was like, "No, man, you got to be tough." And the dude is like, "No, I'm done." And he's like, "No, I'm not letting you quit." And I felt so bad for that guy because I'm like, bro, he was trying to silently tell you, "Get me out of here. I'm done." And then he verbally just said, "I'm done." He tried to say it low so the camera doesn't hear, so he has to live with the shame that, "Oh, I quit." But then you push him to go back out to the point where he has to put his foot down and say, "No, no, no, I quit." For shame. But the reason, there's a conflict of interest sometimes because a coach doesn't want the fighter to lose, because if the fighter wins, then it's more money for you. Bigger paydays, celebrity, stardom, all that. So some coaches aren't really, they're in it for themselves. You get me? And they're not the ones putting their body on the lines. So there's something to be said for being realistic with a fighter and preserving your fighter's brain, because then he can always come back and make money another day or something of that nature. But yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Watcher? You got something else?
Well, I think that a lot of these coaches, don't understand sometimes, Teddy included. You don't need to be the fire in there. You need to be the water. And that's where it comes into play. Be the water, don't be the fire. Because then you got to get a beat down. It's that simple. So yeah, everything else you said though, I mean, I'm with that, 100%.
Yeah, it's very interesting that we see regularly the opportunities for coaches to step up. The best way that you can tell what a coach has to offer is how their fighter deals with adversity and how they handle themselves in the ring. And when I say handle themselves, I ain't talking about how, they fight all slick or something like that. It's like dealing with circumstance, dealing with adversity, dealing with when something isn't necessarily going their way and they have to make an adjustment on the fly, things like that. Those are circumstances that will allow you to see the coaching in someone. Like Andre Ward, we could see he making adjustments in fights where when he went to something and realized it was working, he didn't deviate from that. He stayed on that until it carried him through victory. When we watched Oscar De La Hoya fight Floyd Mayweather Jr., Oscar was doing something that Floyd had always had difficulty with, and he was sticking that jab in Floyd's face. When you got a very good jab, Floyd would always have problems with fighters that have very good jabs. And Oscar got away from the jab, and he lost the fight. You understand? It's like that's as simple as it can be. And when fighters can stick to what they do, like Ali, when he fought Joe Frazier, in the first fight, he tried to fight tooth and nail with Frazier. In the second fight, he discovered how to smother Frazier by pulling him into his chest and pushing down on his neck. The third fight was a combination of both the first and second fight, with Ali at points grabbing Frazier, tying him up, and doing those things he needed to do to slow down Frazier's offense. That's making an adjustment. You know what I mean? And there are fighters who do that and do that well, but it comes from schooling. Because a lot of times a coach and trainer in the gym, they could give you a lot, and you might not even use 60 to 70% of what they give you while you're having success and whatnot. But there may come a time when there's a trial when you have to reach into that bag or that box and pull something out that you never thought you'd have to use. And that
You know what I'd like to, excuse me, Storm.
Go ahead.
If I can share something with you, bro. I'm on a lot of panels, bro. I was lucky enough to be invited on a panel with trainer Tommy Brooks, man. You know, fantastic trainer. And we got to ask him some serious questions about it. And somebody asked him, how much advice can you give a fighter? How many plans do you give him? Do you go plan A, plan B? He said he keeps it very, very simple. And I mean, we're talking to somebody who's guided the likes of Holyfield, Tyson, Klitschko, McCallum. I mean, we could go on and on. And so my ears were wide open. He said he keeps it real simple. It's a plan A. If that's not working, he'll go to plan B. But he does not want to get a fighter confused. He doesn't want to get all kind of different directions. He wants to keep it simple. If plan B doesn't work, he'll go back to plan A. And this is from a cat my age, still a successful trainer. And what do you think? What do you think of that frame of thought there, Stormy B, in panel?
Well, yes, I've spoken on that. Matter of fact, when I have talked about fighters coming back to the corner in between rounds, the philosophy should always be give a guy three things. One of them he will listen to. And if he's able to do one of the three, you've got his ear and you're on the path toward having success. You give him too much information, he's going to be all over the place simply because he's just going to revert to doing something that comes natural or doing something that he feels comfortable, regardless of what you said to him. This is why your instructions and your remotivations each and every round should always be along the same line, because a fighter will carry that with him. Even in the gym, when you're training, it should be the same. You can work on things. Today, we're going to work on this. Tomorrow we'll work on that. But your instructions, the way you deliver them, and information that you give a guy between rounds. And you also have to put a fighter in a position of thinking like, how about that? In other words, you present them with something, just try this. And when they go out and they have success behind that, you ask them, how did that feel to you? And they're like, man, I felt good. It's like, oh yeah, I see what you're saying. You see, now you have something to build on. That's where that trust forms. So when Tommy said that, yes, I totally understand what he means when he says that. Very important to understand it.
Definitely. That's what it is for sure.
So, yeah. But there's one last subject I'd like to get to, guys, where we saw earlier in the week off of last weekend's show or whatever on the Zone. There was a coming together of minds where we saw your buddy Teofimo Lopez again and Devin Haney. They got into an arguing match that was all set up. I think Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum knew exactly what they were doing with this situation here, man. And these guys got a chance to talk crap to each other, and they were out there. But this is the funny part about it. They were both talking about why they're not fighting each other and this and that. But I want it to be known here that this is promotion by Ed Hearn. He is starting to get to be a little wily here, and the thing about it is, when I say get to be a little wily, Haney has a fight coming up, and so does Teofimo. The thing about it is, these guys should be fighting each other, and they're not. But this is how the promotion is going to go now. They're going to go, and this will build up, and they're going to make it seem like it's going to be a fight between the two guys and whatnot. But I don't think this fight is going to happen. I think they're going to continue to do what they've been doing as far as avoiding Devin Haney. But I think that Teofimo Lopez is on his way to a loss. But what do you guys think? And I'll throw it over to Watcher first.
Yeah. Teofimo is a weak man. He's definitely a weak man. I've known this for years, I'm not a fan of either guy, if I'm being completely honest. I like to be straightforward and honest. But it is promotion at its finest from Eddie Hearn. He's acting like he's not involved. He's involved. I've seen him and Devin have their arrangements. If I'm going to pick who's to lose, I'm going to agree with Stormy, and Teofimo will probably lose before even getting in there with Devin Haney. Teofimo, like I said before, he has let it all go to his head. He's a 23-year-old kid with, all of this, the world at his fingertips. But, man, it's going to slip. I've known guys like it, and the past year, all he's been doing is, charading around, making fun of former heavyweight champions, and saying all this ridiculousness. Again, them two arguing and screaming and repeating words. When two guys bark in a room like that, it starts to bore me a little bit. Like I liked when I like the simple, cold call-outs. That's what I like, But these guys are young. They're not even freaking 25 yet, and I don't know, man. Like, Teofimo is a freaking diva, And I don't think many others, in that division are better. I think they all act the same just about, even Ryan Garcia. I mean, there's a whole freaking list of them. And then the father's getting involved and then cussing out with certain words that shouldn't even have been said. It's freaking ridiculous, man. It's boring me. This whole saga is boring me with Tia, Haney, just ridiculous, man. Freaking ridiculous.
Yes, sir. How about you, Healer? What are your thoughts on this?
Oh man, I can't put it as eloquent as Watcher did. Seriously. Because anytime I fix my mouth to say something in regards to Teofimo Lopez, I've gotten to the point where I stopped making videos on the subject because I'm like, I'm just gonna end up making videos where I'm cursing and I'm just frustrated because this is ridiculous. But what Watcher said is he is a weak man. That pretty much sums it up. Not like I'm the greatest man ever where I'm in a position to criticize others, but I will say this. Tio's a sucker. You're a sucker, bro. You're a sucker because you said Teofimo Lopez only has the Latin fan base. That's not true. Blacks were supporting Teofimo Lopez before his Lomachenko win. After his Lomachenko win, when he started ducking Devin Haney and all the weird stuff, it's like, bro, this dude's a sucker. So him, and others in that division have made boxing
a joke, a complete joke. Like, bro, I'm not gonna spend money on this no more. This is why boxing is dying. The moment this dude was willing to take the franchise title and diss Devin Haney, call him an email champ, and not give him a chance, I know what type of dude you are. Bro, I'll beat you up, for real. For real, I'll beat you up. The Charlos, dude, you guys are suckers. There's no man in you. And if I keep going, I'm just gonna talk over. So I'm just gonna leave it right there.
Yeah, great stuff. How about you, Bruce?
The whole night I thought we had a great night of boxing, man. I was expecting a lot more, obviously, from Mikey Garcia, but bro, that's what boxing's all about, man. Getting an upset like that, and now we all know who Sandor Martinez is, man. It's a hot name there, and then what was that guy's name? Castro, bro. That was like it was like Cinco de Mayo all over again. They had the fireworks. It reminded me, and it seems like when his fight was over, a great prospect. I think that was his third fight. It seemed like the hundreds of people cleared out of the arena. There were empty chairs at ringside. It kind of reminded me of an old Pazienza fight at the Civic Center when he'd be on the undercard, and he'd have all the Goombas would be there for his fight, and when he left, the main event would be 100 empty ringside seats. But anyway, man, I thought that the bro, seriously, bro, I thought the Teofimo and Devin Haney, but that was another shit show in boxing, man. That was, well, how long have we wanted to see that fight, man? That goes back to the Four Kings, man, and I use that term very, very loosely with much forgiveness to the Kings. But bro, we wanted to see that fight years ago, and now they're yelling nose to nose. Using language that I don't use, man. Bro, it was a fucking shit show once again. Talk to Bob Aaron. What are you talking to Bob here? I'm here. We're here right now. Yeah, you're here right now. Eddie's here. Sign the fight. Tell us when it's going to happen. Nah. It's the WWE part of this alien show, bro. I'm just riding on the spaceship, man, and I'm seeing it again week after week, and I saw it again, bro. It was it was a comedic way to end the night, man.
Yeah, great stuff, man. Now, for these last couple minutes for the show, fellas, we got this big fight coming up this weekend on ESPN. We got Jamel Herring, Semper Fi, taking on Shakur Stevenson, man. This fight right here is an interesting fight that's kind of a throwback that shows when you have a young upstart, so to speak, taking on a quality veteran. And a lot of people feel like Shakur has what it takes to dethrone Jamel Herring, who's coming off of his biggest win against Carl Frampton, a guy who had a name in the division as well as respect in the division, and who had avoided certain fighters himself. But at the same time, Herring was thought to be the lesser of some evils. I'd like to take these last few minutes to get you guys' take on this fight. Healer, I'll throw it your way first. Give us your thoughts and a quick breakdown of what you think or foresee happening in this fight this weekend.
Oh man, this is going to be a real good fight, and I'm ashamed that I didn't realize it was coming around so soon. I guess all the frustrations around the Wilder Fury fight and all the other nonsense kind of overshadowed this fight a bit. I don't know how to call this one, but I feel like I've got a sneaking suspicion that Jamel Herring is gonna pull it off. I don't know how he's gonna pull it off, but I feel like he's gonna. Can't give you much besides that, so I'm gonna pass the mic.
It's okay. And as you said about not enough people talking about this, well, that's because some people like to talk about drama and dead end things, and they go back and forth. But remember, when I said this many times over, if you're a fan of the sport and not individuals, you will find you will always have something to say about the sport of boxing. You see, and when you don't, that shows the shallowness of what you have to say about the sport of boxing. I'll throw it to our veteran on the panel. Bruce Goes, what do you think about this fight this weekend?
I think it's a fantastic matchup, Stormy B-Man. Once again, this is reinforcing my half full of the glass theory. Jamel Herring, bro, that's Semper Fi. That's a dog, man. He's not going to take a backward step. He's got the size advantage, the height advantage, but he's facing a special fighter here, man. Shakur Stevenson. This is a kid. This is a kid who, the first day of high school, it was, do you want to go to school or you want to go to the gym? And he chose the gym. And, he's already got a master's in boxing, and he's going on for his PhD. I think it's for the average fan, they're going to see a dull fight because, Shakur Stevenson is going to be able to do what he wants with him. And, does he have that knockout punch? Is he going to want to get into the, get inside and, go at it with him? I don't know, bro. But, I think Stevenson is going to win. I think he's going to win ugly, unanimous decision. And, I just think he's set for bigger and better things. It's going to be entertaining as hell, and it could go either way. That's why I love boxing. It's a 50-50 to some people, and that's what fighting's all about, man. And like I said, man, I just think Stevenson's good. He's just too educated. His jab, it's not a probing jab. It hits you, it knocks you back. And I think he's going to get respect from Herring. And I think he's going to become a world titleist after Saturday night, man.
All right. Watcher, we're bringing it to you. What do you think about this fight?
Oh, this is a good fight here. This is a good one. It's been brewing for a while now. I haven't lost sight of it. I've kept up to date with it. I'm going to watch a bit more on it after the show, but don't underestimate Jamel Herring. This guy has been through, a fair bit. Shakur is young. I think he's under 25. He's had his own trials and tribulations, but Jamel Herring's a former military man. I think he was a Marine. Again, that's experience right there. Just, in terms of mental fortitude and discipline, him getting COVID and overcoming that, having to look after his kids, which he really emphasizes. Stevenson's tried a lot to get under his skin, but I don't think it's worked. I just saw yesterday and today at the press conference and the round table, Stevenson's trying to be that youthful guy that's trying to get under the guy that's a bit, more, older and weathered, but I don't think Jamel cares. And I forgot how big Jamel is. He's actually a pretty big, long guy. And Shakur, to me, is also pretty well built up at this weight. But with Stevenson, he's got the tools to do this. He's got the conditioning. But will that conditioning be tested? Because, again, this will be the best guy he's fought. Again, Jamel is very sneaky with those counters, with that left hand, with that check hook. Frampton was 1 minute, storming forward really getting, to it, and then boom, all of a sudden, uppercut comes out of nowhere, and Jamel Herring was like an astronaut in space before he went to the canvas. I mean, those counters are just they come out of nowhere sometimes. And Jamel has more experience in the ring as well, and I think that, if he can use the clinch well, I think that will play a big part, because I don't think Stevenson's been in those situations as much. Experience versus that youthfulness. It's going to be a real good fight. Can't wait for it. Should be good.
Yes, sir. Now, my thoughts on this are as such. Great fight, a throwback fight, as I mentioned earlier in my comment. This is a tale of a wily veteran and a young up-and-coming guy who has the world at his fingertips. But the thing that's going to define this fight are X factors. And the X factor, the biggest X factor in this is we don't know how much Jamel Herring wants this. We will find out in the fight. And you can't gauge a man's desire. Shakur Stevenson is approaching this as if it's his already. He's claimed it. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, I'm coming to pick up my belt. Well, Herring had to work for the belt. And sometimes, because the man is silent, you don't know what's going on under that hood. You understand? You don't know what type of engine is under there. It purrs like a kitten, but it could be a 5.0. You understand? So that's the way you can define what happens here. Now, each of them in their previous fights had something on display that was a little bit unexpected. For Shakur Stevenson, in his fight against Nakatina, he didn't show that wherewithal to go after the guy when he seemingly was more talented, when he seemingly had advantages over the man. And it could have been because Nakatina had a punch that he landed on Shakur early, and Shakur thought to fight safe and thought, to win, outright and look impressive the next time out, as the old fighters used to have their trainers say to them. Now, the only thing about that is, out of that fight came this, the critique of Shakur. He should have got the guy out of there. He should have did this. He should have did that. I said he did what was best. He won. That was the most important thing. He won. But he said that the criticism got to him. And so, he said next time he won't fight like that. Well, you're going in against a veteran that is not Nakatina. This is a world champion in Jamel Herring, a battle-tested man. And when I say battle-tested in life as well as in the ring. So now you're going up against a different set of circumstances here. And I will tell you this, if Herring has the right attitude about this, what it would mean for him to be victorious over Shakur Stevenson. Shakur could always come back, but this could be a legacy defining moment for Jamel Herring. And we don't know what his desire is. We just don't know. We will find out on that night. And I believe that that is enough of an intangible that it's a wait and see type of circumstance. But for myself, Shakur should be favored. I'm pulling for Jamel Herring because I would like to see him step up and do the type of things that would benefit the sport of boxing. It's one of the things that you really have to pay attention to. If Shakur is able to overcome him, then that just means that that Jamel didn't feel that he belonged. See, that could be a factor as well. If he doesn't feel he belongs, we don't know those kind of things. This is why these type of men have to have these type of fights, because it tells you about character. It tells you about resolve. It brings so many other aspects of the sport on the table. But those are my thoughts. I'm looking for Jamel to win a close decision and Shakur to be humbled a little bit from the standpoint of, I should have spent less time talking trash and stuff and focused in on tactics, my game plan, things of that nature. So that's how I see the fight, fellas.
That was a much more eloquent way of putting it than I did. But yeah, a way to sum up my thoughts there.
You're welcome. So let me throw the mic around to you three guys and get some final thoughts and words for you so we could close things out and get on out of here and let people enjoy the rest of the night, man. So Bruce Goes, thank you for popping in with us, man. You're always welcome here with me, man. Appreciate you stopping by. Let us have your final thoughts.
Stormy B-Man, my brother. When I saw that ad, that invite come to me, I was a half hour late, bro. But man, I'm jumping on that, man. That I appreciate coming on here. I know it's real boxing. I know I'm going to be talking to some people that know what they're talking about, man. And you know me, man. I love chopping boxing up. I'll chop it up with anybody, man. I've met some great people through in these crazy houses. I've met some wacky people, but you guys are keeping it real all the time. I love it, Stormy B-Man, watcher, healer, bro. I just nothing but gratitude. We respect gratitude, and anytime, Stormy. Anytime you invite me on here, it'd be my pleasure to come on. Everybody out there in the chat, man, thanks for putting up with us, man. Peace out, my brothers.
Yeah, I appreciate you stopping by, man. You're welcome anytime. Healer, what are your final thoughts, man? And let everybody know where they can find you. And you can put your links in the channel, Watcher and Healer, in the chat if you want.
Yeah, man. So it's 2 awesome birthdays right now. Mine and Deontay Ron's Bomber Wilder. So I was gonna do a
Today?
Yeah.
Hey, happy birthday, man. I didn't know
Appreciate
that. And
you.
I didn't know it was the champ's birthday. But check it out. I am wearing the champ's shirt. Huh? Can you guys
Hey,
see
there
that?
you go.
I got it on. I got his t-shirt on because I bought this for the fight, man. And I'm sporting it. This second time I've worn it, man. So yeah, go ahead and happy birthday, Healer, man.
Yeah, man. So I was gonna head over to my channel and do a stream at like 11:30, but I'm kind of sleepy. I don't feel like talking about Wilder and Fury right now, and I'm pretty sure that's what it's gonna end up being about. But yeah,
You got
I
to
guess
do the stream, man. It's your
yeah,
birthday.
man.
You got to do the
I gotta do
stream.
it sometime.
Listen, I'm doing the stream tonight with a terrible pain in my body, man. You guys will never know it, but I am, running on fumes myself. So you got to do it, man. That's what we fighters do, right? We got to push through, bro.
Yeah, you're right. I appreciate that. So I guess I will go through with it after all. So y'all catch me over there in like 30 minutes or so. Yeah, I'll put my link in the freaking channel thingy.
Yeah, put your link in the chat.
Yeah, man. So I appreciate you having me on as always. Much appreciation. Salute, Watcher. Salute, Bruce Goes. Till next time.
Yeah,
Peace.
this was a great conversation tonight too, fellas. I just want to let y'all know, a round of applause for you brothers for how you carried the conversation on tonight's show. We got 64 thumbs up and no thumbs down, man. It's like, that's pretty tight, man, for us talking on the subjects that we covered. Watcher, let us know, where we could find you and give us your final thoughts as well, man.
Just you can find me at Watcher Boxing. I'm not hard to find, and it was always a great conversation, man. We got good engagement in the chat tonight as well. That's what you want. That's what you want. Different ideas, and I enjoy covering these topics, man. Always appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you can, if you want, you can put your link in for your channel in the chat as well. I'm sorry, I would have done it earlier, but I just thought about it right now, and we're wrapping things up. We were so
Nah, it
engaged.
doesn't matter. It's fine, man.
Yeah, but great show, great conversation, man. I really appreciate you guys coming out tonight to hold me up. This is a Thursday night, and typically on Thursday nights I have the Three Wise Men with Kurt Sugar and Scrapbook Boxing, my two brothers, and they are both taking a little hiatus from the show. Kurt is still recovering and dealing with some things, and if he's done his show with Blue Blood today, it'd be asking a lot of him to try to do an evening show as well with the Three Wise Men because of everything he's going through. So keep your prayers up there for Kurt Sugar and for Scrapbook Boxing as he's recovering. He had an accident recently, and he's trying to, but he was here Tuesday night to do his historical boxing conversation. So we are still out here, pushing through for you guys to bring you something. Instead of just taking the night off, I wanted to come out and bring you guys a stream and bring some brothers on with me so we can continue to put positive content out there. And I see my man Divine Sense Boxing. Divine, you were sent a link for the show tonight. I know you might have been busy or you didn't see it, but always know that when I do these, I will always send you a link because you're always welcome on the channel as well. And I'm glad you did show up in the chat, man. So it's all good. I appreciate everybody that was out there, the brothers that sent the super chats, BFTB, my man Job. Listen, so much support. We had Willie Beecham, who signed up as a channel member this evening. I really appreciate all that support, man, because Stormy B-Man is really trying to take it to the next level and bring you guys right along with me and help get to where we need to go, man. So that's going to be it for this evening's boxing raps, where we call this one the pullout game is strong in boxing, and boy is it. But we got to push it back up in there where we want it to be, because we want to see quality matches, man. That's all we're asking. Give us the quality and we will show up. But if you two brothers want to hang tight for a second as I close this out behind the scenes so we can just have a couple of words, I appreciate it. But everybody out there, enjoy the fights coming up this weekend. This is Stormy B-Man saying shout out to the LDBC and peace to everybody. And everybody out there, please remain safe. All right. Peace.
Peace.